we're so busy and so focused on so many things that we serve through, right? We serve our husband, we serve our children, just life, all the pieces and all of that. But then sometimes I think it's interesting, just that thought of like my husband and I have been together for so long. I was 14 when we started dating, that sometimes I laugh, right? I'm like, do I actually like this? Or do I just like this because like we've liked this together for so long? The kids laugh at me because as I get older, I love like lemony things. I love salt and vinegar. Like I love all of I like dark bitter chocolate. Like, and so we've kind of laughed and we're like, do I actually like those? Or do I just know that nobody else will eat those? So now I have trained myself to like them, right? So that way nobody gets into them. But like I stop and I think sometimes it's like, what are the things that like I like that I do for me? Like, is that a weird question? Because I feel like it's probably a weird question.
You've eaten so many crusts off of sandwiches that now you're like, obviously the crust is fine.
Yeah.
But if you were, let's say, a 6-year-old child and given a plate of a sandwich, would you naturally have requested the crust be cut off, or would you have requested a plate full of crust? I see the conundrum.
Right? Like, isn't it interesting that when you think about it, again, not in that way of like that cheesy, like self-care, do me, or whatever, like the things are, but I think you stop and think about it sometimes. And then I start thinking like, this is a great conversation to have with you. Your kids are getting older, right? Now that they're getting older and they don't, even with us. So I still do have a 6-year-old, but my other kids are getting ready to turn 11. We've got a 13 and a 19. So like my level of being needed is still very different, right, than it was over the past few years. Like it really has changed so much. And have you found yourself being like, what do I like? What do I do? Right? Like it's almost this like, again, that like midlife crisis or something where you're like, what is it I do here? What do I want to be doing here? You're like, yep. See, but that's how it ties into my story of all the iris blooms because I'm all the bulbs because I'm doing that. And my husband's like, hun, do you want me just to like, do you want us just to dig that? Like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I am having the best day in the whole wide world out here tinkering with 8 billion iris bulbs. Like physically it started my foot. I still can't dig with the shovel as well. So I had like a couple like physical things that were kind of like, like it's kind of frustrating just because like I'm having a hard time doing it. But I was like, there is nowhere else right now than I would rather be. Like, I know the house is a mess. I know I didn't get to everything. Like, I know there's work that needs to be done and stuff that needs to be dealt with. But like, we'll all go to bed a little bit later tonight. Let's just stay out here, enjoy. And I want to like dig up holes all over the yard and plant a bunch of iris. One of those like, I love doing this. This is what I want to do. I don't want to go do anything else. Like I want to be out here. I want to go to bed exhausted tonight with like my shoulders hurting because I'm doing all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like I actually want to do that.
I love this. I think this is a very fun conversation. And yes.
Because I think it's a hard one, right? Like when I ask you that and you go, oh yeah, but I think that like, that's a conversation worth having when we're like, ooh, this weird spot you get to when your kids are getting older and like things are happening. And then you're like, what do I like? What is it I do?
I have filled my time in the last 18 years with children-centered things. I have not. There are always times when you lose yourself and you're the one taking the backseat. Most of your child's childhood is like that. You take the backseat, you do the thing, whatever. But there are times when your preferences really take the backseat, like far back, because you're so invested in the thing. and then you come up for air. I think it's kind of like doing a really big project. Like if you're painting your house and you're really invested in painting your whole house, you get 2 weeks where everything in your life is disrupted from painting your house, but you work really hard to get it done. And then after those 2 weeks, you go, oh, well, what did I do before I was so consumed with painting my house? It's been 2 weeks. I don't exactly, like, you remember, but like, what, like, I've been so consumed with this. What did I do?
And then all of a sudden you get back on track with like laundry and dishes and all the other things. And you're like, oh, look at this. We're all like running forward again, right? But it's kind of this like,
I've been really consumed with my children and the project of raising my children. And now I've come up from that real in-depth, like, focus. And now, well, what did I enjoy before I had kids? What did I enjoy while they were growing? And you're talking about the difference between enjoying something like, oh, I enjoy the afternoon, and feeling that fulfilled spark within you. Like you felt it. It was not just, I am enjoying this, because everybody can enjoy a situation without it touching them and meaning something to them. It's just a moment. Yeah, it's an enjoyable moment, but like, okay. No, this was like a moment where it filled you and like fed your soul, and you grew because of what you felt in that moment. Ooh, this is how I'm supposed to feel. I remember this. Ooh, okay. Somebody like sparked a little fire underneath you, and you felt that little tiny spark, and you were like, oh, that's what warmth feels like. I remember. And
I used to love it.
It's a weird feeling when you have to take back seat, and then now you get to be the driver, and you're like, I haven't driven in like 15 years. What is going on?
Where are we going? I don't even know.
I know how to drive, but that feeling of, this is new. That feeling comes back. And yeah,